It began like any other peaceful morning in Los Angeles. The studio was coming alive, makeup artists giving last touches, and Elon Musk had just entered the set of a top morning show, hand in hand with his 5-year-old son. The agenda was simple: a quick, cheerful chat about fatherhood, family routines, and maybe a few laughs on live TV. That was the plan, but what unfolded next would be seen by millions, echoing far beyond those studio walls. As they settled in, little X swung his feet under the plush teal couch, his sneakers barely reaching the floor. He gazed around, not with nervousness, but with a calm, wide-eyed curiosity. His tiny fingers traced patterns on his jeans. The host, Maria Jennings, leaned forward with her trademark warmth. "Are you excited to be on TV?" she asked gently. X nodded, then answered softly, "I woke up ready." Elon smiled, his hand resting on his son's shoulder. No one expected those would be the least surprising words from X that morning. The show kicked off like thousands before. Upbeat jingle, applause, cheerful intro. "Today, we welcome visionary Elon Musk and his son X." Cameras panned to them. Elon adjusted his microphone. X blinked at the lights. "Quiet." Maria began with an easy question. "Elon, what's the most unexpected part of raising a boy like X?" While Elon answered, X glanced up at the stage lights, then suddenly leaned towards his dad and whispered loud enough for the mic to pick up, "Can I talk about Jesus?" Maria paused, surprised. Elon stopped mid-sentence. The studio held its breath. "Of course," Maria replied, after a moment. "What would you like to say?" X turned to the camera, his voice steady and sincere. "People say Jesus' name a lot, but they don't really listen to him." Silence fell even in the control booth. Maria's hands tightened on her cards. Elon watched his son, startled but attentive. "What do you mean?" Maria asked, voice gentle. What X said next would set the internet on fire, stir up discussions, and touch millions. Before we continue, let us know, where are you watching from? Share in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Maria leaned in, softer now. "What do you mean? People don't listen." X looked down, then up, each word landing like a pebble in still water. "Jesus said to love everyone, even if they're mean, but grown-ups just yell and fight." Nobody moved. The cameraman's hands hovered above the controls. The producer had stopped speaking into his headset. Even Elon looked uncertain. This was no scripted moment, just something raw and honest. Maria swallowed. "That's a big thought for someone so young. How did you learn about Jesus?" X shrugged. "Books, and I asked Daddy." Elon added, "We read a lot. He asks questions I never expected." But X wasn't finished. "Jesus said to forgive," he continued, turning to Maria. "That's hard. I tried, but sometimes I'm still mad." Maria nodded. "Forgiveness is hard for adults, too." X looked at her, puzzled. "Then, why did Jesus say to do it if it's so hard?" The question struck the room like silent thunder. No one had a quick answer. Yet here was a 5-year-old, not angry, just confused. Meanwhile, backstage, phones buzzed. The Jesus clip just hit 500,000 views in 10 minutes, texted the show's social media intern. Maria, listening to her earpiece, was told, "Let him talk, don't cut." She asked, "Have you ever forgiven someone?" X nodded. "A boy at school took my dinosaur. I cried, but then I gave it to him. I thought maybe Jesus would have done that." Elon smiled softly. "That was kind." X whispered, "I just want to do good things." The room was silent, everyone locked in, watching this little boy speak with innocent wisdom. Maria asked, "Do you think Jesus is real?" X nodded. "Yes, Sometimes when I'm scared, I say his name and I'm not scared anymore. Goosebumps. Someone in the back wiped away a tear. Maria, voice trembling. Would you like to tell everyone something about Jesus? X looked at the camera, a small tilt of his head. Jesus said to be like kids, because kids don't know how to hate yet. In that moment, millions felt their hearts break open. The control room was in quiet chaos. Producers and editors scrambling. The network had messaging. Don't cut to commercial. Back on set, Maria breathed in. Ace, what do you think adults forget most? He answered. He said to help people who don't have much. Such a simple answer, it nearly overwhelmed Maria. There's a man who sleeps near our house. Once I gave him my sandwich. X said. You did? Yeah, I asked Daddy if we could give him a blanket. We did, but he was still there the next day. That made me mad. Ellen looked down, emotional. Why were you mad? Maria asked. Because I thought if you're nice, sad things go away, but they didn't. Maria asked. What did you do then? I asked Jesus why he doesn't fix it all. Then I cried. Ellen squeezed his son's hand. X looked ahead, thinking, maybe Jesus wants us to help fix things, too. The moment hovered, frowning. Everyone watching felt that soft punch in the chest. Maybe we're supposed to help him fix things, X whispered. The phrase exploded online. Fix with Jesus trended everywhere. Pastors, celebrities, teachers, even politicians referenced it. One church post, a child just reminded us what faith is. Maria, voice breaking. X, do you think God listens when you talk? He nodded, glancing to the ceiling. Yes, even when you whisper, but sometimes, grown-ups are so loud, they can't hear back. The control room was overwhelmed at thousands of comments pouring in. People cried in kitchens, cars, classrooms. Ellen straightened up, eyes misty. He's always been thoughtful, he said. X turned to him. Daddy, do you think Jesus likes rich people? Ellen paused. Maria frowned. The whole studio went still. X continued. He said it's hard for rich people to go to heaven. Ellen nodded. He did say that. But you're rich. Are we in trouble? Ellen looked at his son, the host, and the blinking red light. Not if we remember money is just something to use, not something to love. X nodded. Then we should give more. Jesus would want that. A ripple of conviction spread across screens everywhere. Maria asked, Ace, do you talk to Jesus? Sometimes, when I wake up, and when it's dark. What do you say? I say, thank you for today. Please help me not be scared, and help people who don't have sandwiches. A soft laugh broke the tension. Does he answer? Not with words, but sometimes my chest feels warm, like when Daddy hugs me. Ellen blinked, holding back tears. That's beautiful, Ace. Backstage, the team was fielding interview requests and tracking shares, but none of that mattered. X said, I think grown-ups forget how to feel. Maria blinked. What do you mean? He folded his hands. Kids feel fast happy, said. Mad, big people try not to feel. They just talk. Ellen exhaled. He's right. Maria turned to Ellen. You're one of the world's most famous people, but right now, you're just a dad. What does this moment teach you? Ellen paused, feeling the weight of it. I spend my life building things, but maybe the most important thing I'm building is right beside me. X leaned against him, holding his sleeve. Maria smiled. That's the quote of the year. But X had more. Being smart is good, but being kind is better. A hush, then slow applause, not just for TV, but from the heart. Maria turned to X. If Jesus was here, what would you ask him? He thought, then said, can you help grown-ups remember how to love? Tears rolled down Maria's cheeks. Ellen kissed his son's head. In that moment, nothing else mattered, just a father, his boy, and a truth the world needed but wasn't ready for. The studio was silent, no background chatter. Even the light bar seemed to soften, as if the whole place was holding its breath. From the back, a crew member quietly placed a small wooden cross at the edge of the set. She hadn't planned it, just felt moved. X noticed, slipped off the couch, and picked it up. He turned to the camera, voice clear. I think this is having it just because it's wood, but because it means something. He handed it to his dad. Why give this to me, buddy? Ellen asked. X shrugged. Because you fix things, but maybe this can fix you. The words hit like lightning. Maria gasped. The cameraman wiped his face. Ellen closed his eyes, holding the cross as if it was the most precious thing he'd ever touched. Thank you, he whispered. X climbed back on the couch, swinging his legs as if nothing had changed. But everything had. The segment exploded online. Fix You trended globally. Religious leaders, celebrities, politicians, everyone shared it. Not with opinions, but with awe. Maria took a steadying breath, knowing the show was ending. Millions are watching. Anything else you want to say? He looked into the camera, serious. Jesus doesn't want us perfect, just honest, and soft like hearts. He put a hand over his chest. The final image, Ellen holding the cross, Maria holding back tears, and a child reminding a divided world that perhaps the answer isn't being right, but being soft. The show ended, but no one moved. The studio stayed hushed, like a church after the last hymn. Ellen gently placed the cross on the table, leaned toward X, and whispered words only he could hear. X smiled, leaned his head on his dad's shoulder. Maria finally stood, clutching her cards. We've had many guests, but today will stay with us forever. Backstage, phones buzz non-stop. CNN, BBC, every major news outlet wanted the clip. Churches requested to play this segment on Sunday. But X didn't notice. He showed his dad how to make a heart with his fingers. I do this when I'm happy, he said. Ellen copied him, awkward at first. Like this? Yeah, X giggled. That means you're soft now. Ellen laughed, eyes glassy. Maybe I am. Maria's producer whispered. We need a follow-up. This is more than a segment. It's a movement. Maria nodded, but it has to stay pure. This was truth, not just TV. Back on the couch, X had one more idea. Can we give away more stuff? Ellen raised an eyebrow. Like toys and clothes. We already do, remember. But more, for people who feel cold at night. Ellen looked at Maria, then his son. Okay, let's do more. X beamed. Jesus would like that. Maria cleared her throat. Will you come back someday? He tilted his head. Can I bring my Bible? Of course, she laughed. In the control room, someone whispered, I just prayed for the first time in years. Another said, I called my dad. We hadn't spoken in months. X didn't hear any of it. He was busy drawing invisible stars with his finger, like kids do when they're happy. The lights dimmed. The studio emptied. But something sacred lingered not just on camera, not just in hashtags, but in people. A ripple that would keep moving quietly from heart to heart. And in the middle was a child not trying to teach, just saying what he felt, and that was enough to shake the world. That afternoon, the world was changed. The sun hadn't set, but the story had already crossed continents. What started as a simple show became a quiet revival not in a church, but on a blue couch with a child, a father, and a wooden cross. Clips of X's words flooded every feed. Jesus doesn't want us to be perfect, just honest. Maybe we're supposed to help him fix things. If you're soft, you can love better. These weren't just quotes. They were printed on t-shirts, shared in schools, whispered in hospital rooms, posted by students and teachers. A pastor in Dallas played the full interview for his congregation. His sermon was just 3 words: be like X. In a hospital waiting room in Atlanta, a mother hugged her child tighter while watching. Across the country, an atheist father texted his estranged daughter, "I saw the boy. I think I finally get what you meant." None of this was planned. None of it forced. It just happened. Sometimes the world doesn't need another expert. Sometimes all it takes is a child asking what adults are afraid to say. Ellen and X returned home. Dinner was warm, but something had shifted. Ellen Saturday on his son's bed, holding the wooden cross. "You know, you helped a lot of people today. Did Jesus see?" X murmured, sleepy. Ellen nodded. "I think so." X hugged his toy. "I didn't want to make it big. I just wanted to tell the truth." "You did," Ellen whispered, "and you reminded your dad what matters." As Ellen stood, X called out, "Daddy." "Yes." "Do you think Jesus has toys in heaven?" Ellen smiled in the darkness. "I think he has everything that makes children smile." "Okay," X whispered, "then I'm not scared to go there someday." And with that, the little boy drifted off, peaceful, unaware that millions were still replaying his words, crying, and feeling a home they hadn't felt for years, not because of doctrine, but because of a child's soft heart. Maybe it's not about being right. Maybe it's about being kind. What about you? When was the last time you let your heart be soft? When did you last listen like a child, without needing to fix or explain? If this story touched you, don't let the feeling fade. Hold on to it. And if you want more stories like this, join us. Be part of something softer.